Paul. Well, it's a beautiful day across much of the country, a great time to get into the out there. And for many, that could mean a trip to one of our country's 63 national parks. Yosemite, for example, consistently ranked at the top of the public's favorite parks. Other parks, such as Key Biscayne in the Florida Keys, I love that one personally, or Big Bend in the deserts of West Texas, offer lasting memories and amazing experiences to visitors. But the amazing beauty of all of these parks are under threat from climate change. Joining us now from Fort Collins, Colorado is Dr. Amber Runyon, a climate change ecologist for the National Park Service Climate Change Response Program. Amber, thanks so much for being with us this morning. Now, most people are aware of the threat of climate change and what it's posing to society. Changing weather patterns, rising water along the coast, higher temperatures, more severe storms, and rising prices for food. But what about our national parks? How is climate change impacting them?
Yeah, thank you for having me this morning. Good morning. Climate change is rapidly affecting many of the national parks. The national parks are home to some of the country's most beautiful and unique landscapes, and many of them are particularly vulnerable to the effects of climate change. For example, this past summer, wildfires that destroyed millions of the historic redwoods, sequoias, and Joshua trees in and around California national parks were affected today by climate change. Also, we see glaciers in Alaska's Glacier Bay National Park and Montana's Glacier National Park retreating further every year. So climate change isn't just something that we're expecting to happen in the future, but it is already happening in our national parks.
So with that, you named a couple, but Amber, what are some of the parks that you would say are the most in peril right now?
That's difficult to say. I mean, a lot of the parks are in peril, and it just varies depending on the park and their resources. But we're particularly interested in parks in Alaska and looking at parks in Alaska because the Arctic is warming at a much more rapid rate than down here in the lower 48. So Alaskan parks are in peril, but also Western parks are affected by climate change due to increasing drought and temperatures, drought due to increasing temperatures and drying. But also we're looking at increased fluctuation of temperatures, and extremes are getting more extreme. So parks everywhere may be affected by climate change, but we also, what we know is that the future will not look like the past. The climate today doesn't even look like the climate 100 years ago, whenever most of these parks were established. So we are trying to help park managers understand a range of ways that climate may look in the future by providing them with the best available climate science.
So talk to us a little bit more about that. What exactly is the National Park Service Climate Change Response Program, and what is it hoping to accomplish?
Yeah, the Climate Change Response Program was established about a decade ago, actually. And our mission, well, the mission of the Park Service is to preserve and protect America's treasures for enjoyment people today and in the future. But the Climate Change Response Program aims to provide the best science for park managers so that they can understand how climate change affects their resources, and then use that data to make the best decisions for how to achieve their mission to preserve and protect those resources. We also help parks communicate climate change to visitors and staff as well.
And Amber, we know it has to be a community effort, so how can we help? What, if anything, can the average citizen do to help preserve the beauty of the parks for future generations?
There's a lot of information available about that actually at www.nps.gov, but just being aware, visiting parks responsibly and leaving no trace, and then doing our part to try and manage climate change individually and collectively.
Yeah, something we can all do together. Dr. Amber Runyon, thanks so much for being with us this morning. Climate ecologist for the National Park Service. Well, so how do we get